What's up, Ian? Let's see how this goes because I'm uploading a bunch of things that I can't really not upload. So I'm not sure that the reception is going to be too good, but we're going to try this. Hopefully, everybody can hear me okay. How are you, Ian? Welcome to everybody on TikTok. Since the egg has landed now with a female entity, can you tell me a bit more about the female god? Yeah, I don't think we're talking about the same levels here. What I've seen is like the beyond the beyonds. At least that's what it was expressed to me. It will definitely not be related to the egg or anything else in that regard. I don't know much about the egg, and I'll be honest with you guys. I used to say that just don't know enough about the UAP phenomena. At this point, it's clear to me that they're just using people's attention. I know it might upset a lot of people, but I think all the people that were rah-rahing around the disclosure a week ago, I think there's a good opportunity for you to maybe get off that train. Now, the thing is that I'm not saying that there are no UAPs and none of these things are real, but they will not be disclosed in the way that people say that they will. This knowledge doesn't belong to anyone. So you'll excuse me if I'll just not show that much interest in that. How are you, Brad Pitt? Brad Pitt is listening. I'm glad you're with us. Why didn't that appear? How are you, Sofa King? What's up, Sam? This is how are you, Nico? How you doing, brother? The UAP community seems to be in what I call in the business of around the cornerism. It's always around the corner. Well, I'm interested in the here and the now, not in what's around the corner. How you doing, Ben? Devin. I will always call you Ben here. How you doing, brother? Good to have you. Thank you for the likes, Brad Pitt. Apparently, Brad Pitt is listening to me on TikTok. That's amazing. But don't let me discourage you, Sharp Accidental. I can't be interested in that. It's silly. That egg looks ridiculous. And I think it's time to call the spade a spade. Uh, who will lose their subscription benefit soon? You're talking about the people of the UOP community? I don't think they would. I think there will always be enough people to keep pushing this narrative. I mean, the blessed UFO of God is also about the female God. Maybe interesting to for fun trying to connect. Yeah, it's just not. It can't possibly be the same thing. We're talking about outside of our reality. What I saw was outside of our reality. It had nothing to do with our reality. It was way out there on levels that the human mind can't really interact with. So obviously they showed me some kind of a diagram presentation. I don't think they showed me what it really was, obviously. But yeah, this is nothing like that. All of these things are, please excuse me, silly. They're just silly. Can I be wrong? Yes, 100%. But to the extent that I lived enough on this earth to smell bullshit, that's it. No, but I'm definitely not going to be listening to any interviews with people from the UAP community, guys. It's just not at this point. It's clear to me that they're just utilizing other people's attention, uh, especially considering the fact that I am speaking to at least one type of aliens, and they look nothing like that, and they are real aliens, like very alien, not conveniently familiar. Even Stephen Greer, above everyone else, not Stephen Greer. Well, I hope you were joking. Remember what I was saying about Ben Carson? Mark my words. Just a matter of time. Stephen Greer. You can mark my words. How are you, Ace? Recovery. What kind of recovery? What are we talking about here? Have you tried refracting the laser in something to be viewed through a microscope? Yeah, one of the first lasers I've ever built was with a microscope lens, and it definitely helps. It definitely makes the beam a little wider. But like I keep saying, we will be experimenting very, very, very soon with a whole new set of experiments that we're going to be running on a regular basis. So I'm excited about that. How are you, Nash Vegas? Nash Vegas. Um, the one I told you about, Ace. I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't know Stephen Greer was a fake. Stephen Greer, number one con artist. Stephen Greer. Stephen Greer and Billy Carson are toe to toe. I don't know how people miss that. He's so clearly fake. Um, has anyone figured out a way to film the matrix symbols looking sideways into the laser beam? No, not yet. Somebody's saying that they might have, but I'll wait until I see that, even though I have no reason to doubt that person. I'm on the 7th episode of the telepathy tapes. Wild and crazy stuff. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. The UAP community. If it walks, talks, and sounds like a duck, when we ascend to 5D, are my library late fees still valid? I think library fees still follow you to the fifth dimension. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, how are you, Nash Vegas? Where are the most of your listeners watching from? What platform? I think at this point it's YouTube and yeah, YouTube mostly. But I'm also streaming on TikTok at the same time. So we have YouTube, X, Twitch, and TikTok. Just because the egg looks like Morg from Orc. He mentioned that in the interview with Jake Barber. I don't. I just don't. Again, I don't want to. You know, I only speak out of what I can experience and see. All of the stuff I can kind of weigh in on it if I have some reason to believe that it's connected to what I already know from my end. This stuff I just don't know enough about, and at this point, we just have strong intuitions. My strong intuition tells me that it's a waste of everybody's time. Again, can I be wrong? Of course, I can be wrong, but that's my opinion. I'm not gonna waste any more time with that stuff. I listened for a little bit, and then I kept it as scientific as possible. I gave it 3 different chances where people said this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen. It's now the third time that it didn't happen. I'm off the train until further notice of something actually happening. Not somebody telling me that something will happen. Not somebody giving me an interview about something that they know. I don't care. Show me something that happens, then I'll rejoin. At this point, I'm not interested in that anymore. And you shouldn't either. It's a waste of everybody's time. Using any frequencies in unison with the laser, more experimental verification needs to be done. Absolutely, I agree with that. Should watch for research purposes? No, I don't think so. There's no more research there. You're talking about the UAP thing? There's nothing there. Nobody knows anything. I assure you that. They all in the business of telling you they know something, and that's how they keep their business alive. They know nothing. For me, it is just like the north of midnight. Lucky Whittles, how are you? I agree with you. I mean, I think I'm just like, I was like, okay, let's see. And by the way, we had this talk right before, right? I don't know the people that UAP people here. I think I told you like right before, like a few weeks before whomever announced. I don't know their names anymore. I don't care, but whomever announced in their community, one of the big names, and they were like, "Yeah, 3 weeks now, 3 weeks," and everybody like, "Oh my god, 3 weeks! All right." And then he's like, and then the day before, he was like, "No, no, it's one more day." It's like, okay, one more day. And then, of course, nothing happened. So if you don't get off that train at this point, I don't know what to tell you. Or maybe they should stop promising things they can't keep. I think it's a good idea, no? And Greer has been doing this for how long now? 30 years? He's been in the business of around the cornerism. Around the corner. Around the corner. It's right around the corner. It's right. It's coming. It's around the corner. Here's the thing. I know that something big is going to happen this year. This ain't going to be it. It's how the cherished. Are the grays what humans become in the far future? I don't think so. I think that the grays are a species that is in our layer. Again, I'm not in the business of talking too much about things I don't really know. But if I have to make a guess from everything that I've observed, including comparing it to the higher realm space and with the spirit molecule, they seem to be from our layer. They don't seem to be more advanced in terms of like multidimensional. There are some behaviors of certain vehicles that seem to be behaving as if they would be multidimensional, but I don't think all of them are the same. I don't think we're looking at this. There's a lot of different phenomena there that we all think it's the same, but they're not. My intuition and experience tell me that laser and the vape are faster routed to ET. Yep. Do these symbols match any known language or writing or code? Is it only patterns that can be seen? They're not patterns. They're definitely a language, but they do not resemble. They resemble. I mean, they kind of look like Japanese, kind of look like Hebrew, kind of look like, but they're none of those things. They just look like alien symbols. Good question. I'm good on the UFO chat. As a solipsist, they don't hold space in my reality. Nice. Are you in talks with Dr. Strassman? I heard he is aware of your discovery. Yeah, at this point, a lot of people are becoming aware. No, nobody ever reached out to me, not from his side or any of the people that he said they're working on it. So no, I'm definitely not in contact with them. Who makes it all about consciousness? April Newcomb. Who are you talking about? Who are we talking about, April? The camera malfunctions, yeah, it's because I'm uploading things. So most likely it's going to keep going this way, unfortunately. I know. It's either that or not doing a live, and I didn't want to skip another one. AGI at the end of the year, very possible, a lot earlier even. Yeah, if it's going to keep going, like if it's going to get really bad, then we can adjourn for the day and I'll come back. Thank you, Just Cherished. I appreciate you. Appreciate the likes. Deeply appreciate it. 1980s blur. I mean, I like 1980s. What other thing is going to happen this year? I have no idea. And I don't think anybody does, but some major, major change of some sort for sure. Can the symbols be photographed? Not unless you own a substance as well. Whistleblowers. Again, I'm telling you, again, it's kind of like, um, do I know for sure that they're wrong? No, of course not. But my intuition is so strong that I can say it with almost 99% certainty. So I'm going to own my words. I'm just going to say none of the whistleblowers knows anything. How's that? I do think they actually are some kind of a part of a something the government is trying to do. The funny thing is, there is something there. They just don't know what it is. They have no idea. I think that one of the reasons that this is done, if I have to guess, is that the government basically wants to create uh, an impression that something is under control. It's not. They don't have the first clue of what's going on. April, I'm asking, who are we talking about? Greer? You keep saying he. Who he admits that. Who is he? End of February, Vipassana retreat. Yes. See, that's a huge thing. That's a Jake Barber. I don't even know who that is. Oh, a new guy? There's a new guy now? Yeah, I can't care. Sorry. I can't care anymore. I'm out. And also, just in general, I will also give you a little bit of like a observational observational tool. Okay. Here's part of what around the cornerism. So what I'm coining as around the cornerism is this attitude that they have around like, oh, it's coming, it's right around the corner, it's right around the corner, right? Part of right around the cornerism is to make sure that you log all the trends, and you might want to get on the trends relatively early, so it seems like you're always part of the flow of what most people want to be true, right? So because in the last 10, but really 5 years in particular, there was a giant uptake in spiritual pursuit and what people would call the awakening, which is a very real thing, by the way. These people, they pick up on it. It's like it's like cold reading. You know how magicians do cold reading when they read you really fast and then they can kind of say the things that conjure more information from you, and then they say the thing that you like, oh my god, yes, because they can read you really well. That's how they do to society. That's what they do to society. They read the cold read society. They say, oh, because if you look again, the narratives change inside of the UFO community, right? They match the times. They change according to what people want it to be. That's not a movement that I'm going to be following. Was why was he interviewed about the egg? Did he lay this egg? Greer failed as a physician at Duke University and decided to become an alien specialist. I think somebody paid him quite a bit. Oh, you have a PhD? Let's write that PhD. Anyone has significant success adding MAOIs? I'm pretty sure. I mean, with I it works, so I'm pretty sure yes. UPA and CIA. I mean UPA and CIA whistleblowers popping everywhere every day. Yeah, there's like a new one every day. It's like the newest one. Code Reading Society sounds like a great book. Thank you, Billy. Picked it up with a helicopter. Oh, cool. Sounds like so sorry. Oh my god. And by the way, just to be clear, if tomorrow there's like new evidence that like shows something substantial, I'll spin on a dime. I'll be like, I was wrong. I was wrong. I have no problem with that. It's just that I'm watching it. And I'm like, dude, this is absurd. They're absurd. If this would be a magic show, I mean, at this point, you should walk out of the room. You should walk out of the room. It's pretty clear. Thank you, Nico. I appreciate the rose. Just do something better with your time. Go to a Vipassana retreat. Much better. I promise you. You're going to be much happier. Changing one thing, any particular thing that could happen on the list of probability, what is the highest that can happen? It doesn't really I know it sounds like a cop out, but it doesn't really matter, because whatever it is, the truth is that what the only value around it is how you're going to get through it and be after it, right? So even the example that we're talking about now, the disclosure, something that I said in Night Shift, the podcast about UAPs, which, by the way, super nice people. I really loved the people that interviewed me. I'm terrible with names, so because I haven't interacted with them since, I can't recall what it was. But it's a pretty known, from what I understand, show about UAPs podcast. Great people, really good vibe. I would do it again. I really enjoyed their company. And this is something I said in the talk. I said, look, think about this for a second. Let's say the disclosure happens. What you really want to be thinking about is how are you going to be the day after? Like, what is it that changes in your life? How are you going to be leading your life maybe differently? Or it's something that Terence McKenna used to say that people invest their lives searching. They spend their life searching, and they never spend a moment considering what would happen if they find it, because they don't believe they will actually find it. They just think that they're going to actually keep searching forever, and they like to be in the search. But as someone who found something, I can tell you that it's a very interesting state where you go, oh, wait, what? You didn't expect to find this. And then when you do find it, okay, now the real thing begins. What do you do with it? And that's the conundrum that I'm with. So, disclosure, not disclosure, something big is going to happen. And it's it can be terrestrial, it can be supernatural, it can be whatever it is, but I just feel it in my bones, and a lot of people are. The question that you want to be asking yourself, which is the only relevant question and should be the only relevant question: what are you going to do the day after? How are you going to be? How are you going to get through this? If it's going to be a lot of tension, should you be listening to everybody online and then getting concerned with everyone when they say a certain thing? No, it's not going to do anything for you. Focus on what you can do in your own personal life that makes it better. Always do that. Uh, Focus on a hobby you really like. Spend time with people that you love. I know it's so trite, it's so simple. It's true though. It's the only thing that matters. And if this thing brings you value, by all means, but don't get lost in it, because it evaporates like this. It's ephemeral. It doesn't do actually anything in your life. What you are in relationship to it, how you feel, what it makes you do differently, these are things that should be valuable to you. Nothing else should be. Dimensional aperture luminexus manual focus camera. After dimming light, adjust the exposure to prevent overexposure from the laser light, and match frame rate to the projections. Um, Refresh rate to avoid fire. Wait. Oh, let me. Gotta write it down. Seems like it might check out. Hold on. I'm gonna take a screenshot. Looks legit. What is dimensional aperture luminexus? Is that the camera with the different apertures all at once? After dimming light, adjust the exposure to prevent overexposure from the laser light, and match frame rate to the projections refresh rate to avoid. What is the projections refresh rate? I'm pretty sure you're talking about like how, like, the projections of the laser. Obsessed with telepathy tapes. Awesome. You're bad with names because you have an interactive what? I didn't say that I have bad with names because of anything. I'm just bad with names. Sofa stoked You're doing the meditation retreat. It's been on my mind a lot recently. That's amazing. That I'm glad to hear. What to get their true history back and gain knowledge? What is bullshit, and it will lead to a huge amount of government bullshit, especially Americans are full of shit. I don't even understand what you're saying, Sharp Accidental. People want to get their true history. You mean want to get the true history back and gain knowledge? What is bullshit? And well, yeah, I'm not behind this message. It's a wild mind experiment, just thinking about going. Then the realization of the fact I've never spent 10 days working on myself like that sounds like a vacation for my brain. To some degree, and to other degree, it's a lot of work. Flickering, ran out of room. You're seeing a dimensional fracture. Think I can film this? If you can, that would be extremely valuable, and I would love to hear about it. What's up, Crystal? Thank you, Nico. Bev. Oh, there's a lot of comments on TikTok. How are you, Casey? Good to see you, brother. Okay, well, I still haven't done a proper intro, so I'll do a short one. Welcome to Simulation Talk 162, the channel that revolves around the simulation hypothesis. My name is Danny, and I'm claiming to have found proof that we live in a simulation, and I've been vocal about it for a few years now. We are now officially working on a documentary on the topic, and this news has gotten around the world. A bunch of people tried the experiment that I was proposing, in which you're projecting a diffracted laser on the surface and ingest a spirit molecule, and you see the code behind the laser. This seemingly very simple experiment shows that there's content that is coherent, repeatable, and very realistic in relationship to what we would usually call, let's say, hallucinations. We meet here almost every single day. Sometimes we go a couple of days without, and we discuss the experiment, the implications, as well as science in general, religion, spirituality, philosophy, God, and as you can see, sometimes UAPs. But I think at least I will definitely be talking less and less about that until some real information comes in. Brian, so good to see you, my brother. Always a pleasure to see your name in the chat. Also, last time you were here, I think that's the day that TikTok was essentially turning off. TikTok is back. Oh, and if you want to follow my other channels, by the way, it would be Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram, Goller Danny on X, LaserX83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. If you are on TikTok and you want to check out my longer format videos, please go check out my YouTube. It's Dango Thoughts, DANGO Thoughts. I have a membership program there, which allows you to have Zoom calls with me, with groups and privately, depending on the tier of the membership, as well as weekly lives, aside from the daily lives for members only. And it also allows you to get early access to all my content. And soon, I promise, in the beginning of February, I'm going to start putting a bunch of stuff for my personal life there that will only live on the members program. So thank you so much, everybody who already joined being a member. I deeply appreciate you because it helps me focus on this project full time. There's big things coming, and a lot of it is thanks to you and to all the people that invest their extra time and their extra money to help the project grow, like Ebony, who's not here with us tonight, Ben and Chris, who are donating membership sometimes on YouTube, which is unbelievable, and all the people that are regulars and come here all the time to contrive this community and make it what it is. Curiosity driven, open ended, and yeah, I love what we're building. What's up, Justin? What project? What do you mean? Divine Destiny, how are you? Do I play chess? I do, yes. Do you play chess? Are you on chess.com? That would be fun. Nanu Nanu. I did found because I know what it actually takes to find something substantial. When I look at other things that to me seem to be bullshit, I'll call a spade a spade. Yes, I do think it's bullshit. I'm not saying that these things don't exist. Of course they do. It's just that most of the people who are very vocal about it, from the way that they're talking and the kinds of things they're presenting, seems to me like they don't know the first thing they're talking about. Because things, when you know what you're talking about, you're not that vague. Again, can I be wrong? Sure. But yes, I do think it's bullshit. What's up, Gory Gray? Gory Gray the Goose. Always, wow, what a cool little thumbnail. Also, love that we get some comments from X Crystal. Thank you so much for all the love. The new whistleblower explains telepathy, context, and higher rate. Sure, because that's what everybody are talking about. So now all they're going to talk about is that. I mean, I don't know if you can't see a pattern. I don't know what to tell you. Why weren't they talking about that 10 years ago? So to see tiny, tiny symbols when consuming the stronger hallucinogen, 100% true, and proof of attention seeking. No attention seeking here, but everything about UAP is bullshit. I didn't say everything. I'm saying that everything that I see so far, with all the way that they're going about it, seems to be amounting to nothing. I'm saying that they're absolutely there. It's just that most people that I see talking about this, there's a few people that I can say that I do see that they have an honest report. Commander Fravor would be one of them. I don't think he's full of shit. I think he's actually quite on it, and I think what he's reporting is real. Some of these things are for sure real, and I actually think there's something there. I just can't watch when people tell me it's coming, I promise, it's coming, I promise, and then it's not coming. Don't say it's coming then. You lose people this way. And I don't know if you ever tried the experiment, but the experiment speaks for itself. I'm making the information available, and it's not just tiny characters. The What I've gathered over the years is enormous amounts of information. The laser just happens to be a thing that I finally landed on that I can show other people, but there's a lot more data points. But yeah, that's the position I take. Take sharp accidental. I'm entitled of my opinions, just like you're entitled of yours. And we don't have to necessarily agree on that. It's all good. Expanded reception of data or increased visual spectrum, but adding the laser seems to bring a consistency or a point of reference. I was looking outside through a double glazed window, but I could see something that wasn't there outside. It was a black disc and it had the symbols rotating on it in bright and light. Amazing. When I saw the clip of your video while room scrolling, I saw a drawing of the symbols and my heart skipped a beat. Interesting. I don't remember. You mean the trailer? You mean, Dave? Where is your discovery with this from? You mentioned pattern you seen. What do you mean by that? I'm not sure that I understand. Carnival animal, Commander who? Fravor. Commander Fravor. I was on a second floor, and whatever it was right outside the window in front of me. I could I could only see it in the window reflection. I was like, it was there, but wasn't. Like the space between the space. I see. Interesting. Sounds Stranger 9. Trying to get through some of these. The Naira fam. You don't need to do all the membership just for to play on Zoom with me, brother. You can also add me on chess.com. I think it's I can't see it right now. Just shoot me an email and we can chat about it. I can throw you my username as well. It's should email me to lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Lasersimulationx@gmail.com. Okay, cool. Yeah. Have I ever tried quartz crystal on the surface medium? No, not yet. But all kinds of crystals and all kinds of materials are in the new experimental sessions that we're going to be doing. Two things that I've seen before. Um, I've yet to try the molecule. I do think I've seen beings before. Interesting. When I get to talk to aliens, what do we talk about? It's mostly about they're kind of showing me all kinds of things. Or it will be a specific conversation, like they would show me something about the simulation or how something about the way it's done. I can give you an example. One time I saw that they're basically registering everything that you choose. That's how I know they study choice, because there's like a thing, like a dial that basically codes for something, and then when you go about your day, everything you choose, like every single thing you choose throughout the day, it registers and it does things accordingly. And then what I saw is that I realized that that dial was connected to it. Like they showed me that dial, that it's almost like a, like in a factory that makes microchips. There's the thing that solders everything, like that. So something like that. And it was going really fast. And then I stopped with my gaze between a mirror and a vase. And that rhymed. And I didn't choose any of them. I almost kind of like stopped in the middle and it was in between them. It was kind of blurry. And then the thing stopped. And then I chose one. I don't remember what it was, but I chose one, and then it went kept on going. So sometimes it would show me things like this, for example. Tried other light mediums, prismatic refraction, other colors, lasers. I think if you lay down full sun and spray the heavy water mist and refraction light. So with water, it's going to be diffraction, not refraction. Sorry, it will be refraction, exactly. So refraction is not going to work all by itself. It has to be diffracted first. So with other light sources, I definitely tried. You can see it with any spectrum of the light or the visible light. It's just that with red, you have the easiest time to spend more time with it because it's the lowest frequency. Within a deprivation tank might enhance the visual experience. Maybe. It's just a lot harder to like be with a laser in there. I go chicken first. What's up, Daniel? There's a video by what's his face, the same guy that we were watching his video with the members live, Anton Petrov. He has a video about that. Apparently, eggs were first. There's an answer now. So if you ask yourself what an egg is, which is basically a colony with a membrane, that was created first, and now we have pretty strong evidence for that. What's up, Aaron? How you doing, brother? Do you ever do meets? I did one, and I'm probably going to be doing more. I just have to figure out locations. Is it easier to see with lower frequency light? No, it looks exactly the same. It's harder to sit with higher frequency light because you're going to start getting a headache. There's more bombardment of your retina. Amazing, Brian. Thank you so much. Dude, you guys rock. So many likes. I appreciate it. Do cats work for them when they see a laser pointer? They try hide and cover up the holes? Probably. Actually, you can't see it with a laser pointer, which is an interesting data point. You can't see it with any light that is not diffracted. So that's interesting. Haha. I love the synchronicity, mister. I'm positive when you use quartz, you will have very interesting findings. Continue the great work, brother. I appreciate you. Gory Gray the Goose. Appreciate you. Do I know why it has to be diffracted? I do not know. No. My guess is that it has something to do with an angle because I believe that we are the hologram looking back at the holographic sheet that from which we're projected. So it has something to do with angle and scattering of light, but I don't know yet. How do you diffract it? With diffracted lens, it just comes. You can buy it on Amazon. It just comes with it. If you go to codeofreality.com, all the information about the lasers are there. And again, I always mention this. Don't feel any obligation to get it from the website. You can get it anywhere you'd like, as long as the specs are the same. So you just copy the specs that we have listed, and then you can source it from anywhere you'd like. As long as it has diffracted lens and it's no more than 5 milliwatts, I would even recommend to not go above 1 milliwatt. You should be good to go. It should work. Could this be that stuff from the red liquid in old night vision goggles? No, definitely not. What's up, J. Paul? Grateful human. Good to have you with us. Sorry for the yawning. We are an articulate part of reality in its iterative becoming. I love it. It's beautiful. How are you, grateful human? I had a shaman try it with Aya with participants in Central America, and it worked. Everybody saw the code. What's up, Ik Babeson? Viking Daddy. Nice. Do you believe we hold all possibilities within us now? Possibilities, yes. Actuations, to be determined. How you doing, brother?
Doing fantastic. Well, actually, incidentally, I had a 52-month streak of not even a sniffle. The last time I got sick, it was August 28th, 2020, and it was COVID. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to say that word or something.
I wouldn't be
But,
surprised on TikTok if that.
but I got it. I got over it in a few days. I was still going to work. I had my own office, so I didn't have to worry about people. And it was nothing. I mean, it was horrible for 3 days, but not horrible. It was mild. But after that, I've been perfectly healthy, perfectly ever since then. So I'm half a little cold. But what I was thinking about is, you know, I had an experience once where it was like a deja vu times 1,000.
Okay.
And what happened in that moment, it was as if I saw like all of these infinite, they weren't infinite, but all of these possibilities in front of me, behind me, to the side of me, like different versions. And it was almost like I saw the parallel realities. And the reason why the deja vu was so intense was because that particular event happened in so many of the realities at the same time. So it's like this cross section, like canon event kind of thing. And so that made me start to wonder about, you know, how all possibilities collapse into the one, or do they do that? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
What do you think about that?
The fact that I do think that we are experiencing all possibilities at once, and your awareness is just the one decoherent informational pattern that is experiencing itself as a self in one of them. Does that make sense of it?
So do you believe that all possibilities are happening at the same time?
But not in any order.
Not linearly, you mean?
No, I mean that it's true to say that everything is possible, but it is not exactly right, because not everything is possible in any order, and not everything is possible in any period of time. And these two constraints are real.
Oh. So you're talking about the concept of not everything's possible. I know very, very, very smart people, and they can't get past that. But I do. I know not everything is possible.
Oh yeah, it's a
That's,
really old, it's a really simple and funny old Eddie Izzard bit, where it goes like, and yes, some things are impossible. Here's an example: eating Mount Everest. How do I know it's impossible to eat Mount Everest? Try it.
Well, the argument of these other people would say that any possible permutation that's possible, because you're dealing with infinites or infinity,
Mhm.
then every possibility has to play out because by virtue of infinity.
Not in any order.
Well, yeah, that's a good argument, not in any order, but
But that
no,
means
not
that
but.
certain orders are impossible, which means not everything is
Yeah.
possible. So I guess to me, the it's I'm trying I'm trying to lift conversations from the purely hypothetical for entertainment. And then for me, they have to land on something that is actionable and valuable for people. So
Okay,
yeah, that's what I
okay, I
mean.
can appreciate that. Let's
Yeah.
talk about something more practical.
No, I like this. I would just like to place it in something that can be not necessarily practical, but something that can maybe be applicable for something that's valuable for people. So, for example, I do think that uh, Stephen Wolfram is pretty much on the money with his hypergraphs, and they make sense of this fact that not everything is possible in any order. But for the ultimate observer, like for the full hyper there is this infinite unfolding of everything all at once. That is real. And the reason that it's relevant is because you can actually describe certain world models with it that before that you couldn't necessarily um, outline coherently. You just had them as an idea, but you couldn't describe it mathematically. And that opens the window for real futuristic technologies like warp drive and things like this. Like it's a very real thing. And it doesn't have to be, by the way I define it, valuable. It doesn't have to be just technological. This is just an example, but it can also be in terms of how it makes people evolve and understand and connect with one another. These are also valuable.
Mhm. The most valuable. And I think that's the big challenge or the goal with the incoming technology. It's how do we make it to where it brings people closer together and closer to themselves, and then closer together in a way that's going to benefit everyone. And I think that's difficult.
I also think that most people who utter, not definitely not you, I've interacted with you long enough to know you're profoundly deep thinker. So I definitely don't think that's the case with you. But I think you would agree with me that most people that utter some of these phrases, like we're all one, like anything is possible, they didn't really give it a second thought. Like they didn't really think what that means, and they just throw it around just because it kind of they want to participate in a particular kind of conversation. And it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that to me that seems like a waste of time. So it's like if you think anything is possible and you don't understand what that means, if you're saying anything is possible in any order, you're essentially saying everything is an entropic soup, and there is no difference between this moment and the next in terms of some logical progression. In that case, you shouldn't try and do anything. Just jump out the window. Like just like it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
something is
absolutely.
happening clearly, right? So clearly something is happening. Something is valuable, and other things are less valuable according to the time and the place and all of that stuff. And these things matter. Like that's why I always say, like, sure, ultimately we're all one, but right now you don't feel like that, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's part of what's happening, right? And it's beautiful too.
Yeah,
There's something beautiful about that. So why not just enjoy what is here instead of postulating all the infinite possibilities that don't lead to any real outcome in the world that you're actually experiencing? As far as you know, there's nothing else outside of what you're experiencing now. What if this is not only it's not an illusion, what if this is the only real thing ever, like what you're experiencing right now? Why not
but
enjoy
but I
that?
think
Yeah.
that that's a less of a balanced kind of stalemate to it, because what you're essentially talking about is the whole duality versus non-duality, and how to operate in a constructive and meaningful way, even if one has the concept or the belief or the knowing of non-duality. And there's been some of the greatest non-dualists, they actually lived as within dualism, within a reverence for the now. So I'm definitely of that school that the ancients used to say, keep your eyes in the stars or in the heavens, but your feet on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So they warned against these truths or comprehensions, leaving one, not using it for practical use. And I think we see that in these spirituality circles where everyone's trying to leave their body in some form of ascension. And it's like, well, hold on a second. This body, it's all you got. It's the temple, and you actually find your truest self through the body, not out of it. So, yeah, I appreciate what you're saying.
Appreciate you too, Brian. How are you? Also, just before you jump in, Brian, do I think consciousness is dark matter? I personally think consciousness is everything. Literally, the universe is consciousness, and it's not a thing in the universe, but it is existence itself. And no, I'm not from Iceland, but I'll take it as a compliment. I think Icelandic people are pretty beautiful people. Brian, how are you?
Doing well, bro. Yeah, I can't stay on for too long because I have to.
Oh no, I just saw you throwing up a
I'm
comment.
doing
I was like,
great.
yeah, just come on and say whatever you want. So you're saying
Yeah,
you're
so
experiencing all
I'm wondering,
possibilities.
are we? You had said something. Oh, hello.
I think there's just a delay. Go ahead.
Okay. Um, you had said something about we're experiencing all possibilities. Can you break that down? Because the way I perceive that is that we're experiencing all possibilities, but we can only observe what the current possibility that we're observing, if that makes sense, or the reality that we're observing.
So what I think, and Grateful Human will correct me if I got it wrong, but I think he was asking in general about do I believe that if ultimately all possibilities happen, and that will obviously include an observer that is experiencing these possibilities. So in the largest picture, yes, I do believe so. Everything happens right now, and maybe even to some degree all at once, but and we can even experience different levels of that at once, and the expansion of how much you can observe has to do with how expansive your consciousness in that instance is. Is that what you were asking about? I'm talking to you, Grateful Human, which, by
What
the
I
way,
was
what
asking about. Okay.
no, sorry, also there's like a delay. Grateful Human, what is your name again?
Jay.
JJ. Okay, yeah, so
You
I
can
was
call me Grateful though.
sure. Grateful is great. Is that what you were
I,
referring to before?
yeah, I think you explained it absolutely perfect. I think the nuance that he's sort of pointing to has to do with, like in my mind, this sort of breakdown into our reality, not breakdown, but like the wavelength collapsing, like this collapse into just our one reality, although the others are existing. And I haven't thought it all the way through, but I tend to believe that yes, there's something very special about this particular consciousness, and that's why everything starts here, as far as our experience.
So
Oh, sorry, go ahead, brother.
Are you saying that this is a shared consciousness?
It's that we're the same
Well,
thing.
If you want me to answer, shared is a tricky word from my perspective. Is it shared? Well, there's nothing that's not it. It is everything. The consciousness is everything. So is it shared? Yes. Now, are we sharing one consciousness that it's tricky? So yes and no would be my answer.
My answer
is it like we're sharing the consciousness, but not necessarily the observation of how we perceive that consciousness?
Basically, yes.
We all have access. Okay.
Yeah. So basically,
Well,
if you strip down all the your personality, so like how you tend to perceive things and interact with them, the I-ness in the middle, the thing that kind of points to something central, the I, the thing in the middle that is perceiving, it is the same. Literally, yours and mine are the same. Like if we strip down our personality, it is the same thing looking, and then the rest of it is
that's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think there is a nuance there, because anytime sense is connected with your body, there is a difference between the sense or the consciousness that's universal, or that sort of one consciousness. So that literally, whatever it sees, it's seeing the whole at all points in time. If we are, even though we strip down our personality and all of that and identity, if we're sensing at all, then there's still some part of us that's a little less pure than just the I am attached to it, just the I. So I don't think we can perceive all of consciousness the same as all of consciousness perceives it.
But this is something that has kind of been I guess a question for me for a while is I personally don't believe our senses are, and I don't know if this is exactly what you're saying, but I don't believe that our senses are limited to our body. I kind of feel like there's this focus when it comes to our body, or mainly our eyes, seeing is believing, just things, words that we use that have to do with senses that have to do with the body. But I feel like there's a bit more. I just don't know the words to it, but
well, I know the words. There's this one concept within Advaita Vedanta, or Vedantin, which is a strictly non-dual practice. And there's different, they say there's all different paths leading to the same appreciation of this sort of oneness of consciousness, like a philosopher's path, or those are the different types of yogas. But anyway, the point is, that that there's this one thing called neti, and it's more through the intellect. And through this practice, you actually embody, you quiet whatever the lower level is, and through the stillness, you can observe it. And you go to each level, you observe the body first of all, and you observe, it's sort of stillness, literally stillness, and then the breathing, and then you're in the mind. So you're behind. So I'm not going to go through each step, but the point is you get up to like this astral body, this bliss body, and you are most certainly experiencing or sensing through different senses. At this level, I even personally experienced, it was different Hindu songs and words, and I knew the meanings through the feelings of them. So I had different senses that I was utilizing. However, at the last level, you can't pierce it. It's literally a wall that you can't pierce, no matter how high you get. That wall is that separate. It's not separate because it's all the same, but there is a distinction between that level because you're still sensing. That's just my personal experience.
I'm a little bit confused about like sense, like piercing. Like, what's the essence of like piercing?
So here's a practice that you can do. That one of the impediments for this is that intellectually you can't grasp it, and it's not like because it's esoteric, but because the reality of it is, it's a different kind of observational regularity, let's call it. But you can have a glimmer of it relatively easy. It's just it takes a little bit of practice, but it doesn't take that much practice, to be honest. There's a wonderful book called On Having No Head that describes On Having No Head that describes one of these very simple practices. There's a lot of different kind of practices, and they aim to certain other, they have different focal positions. The non-dual practices, they're basically like Dzogchen and there's a bunch of them on offer. That their aim is to basically get a state where you truly see that there is no self, not as a concept, but like you go, oh, there's no thing in the middle. There's just the world. I'm not seeing anything. There's just seeing. There's just the element of seeing happening here, and then there's a hint, almost like an implication that there's something in the middle looking. But when you look close enough, and there is a conclusive way to see this, when you look close enough at the situation, you will discover that there's actually nobody there in the middle seeing. There's no one there. There's no one here that all of this is happening to. And this is not a metaphor. There's just literally no one here that all of this is happening to. It's kind of a mind fuck when you experience it.
Yeah, you're breaking my brain right now.
Yeah. But then you can have this relatively easy, and the way to go about it. So the reason I'm mentioning this particular book, because that trick works for most people. You got to be in a calm state. So you can't be like all, jazzed up on coffee. That's where like the more your mind is quiet, the better. So the later hours of the evening is better, but not when you're too tired. So just find that sweet spot. You want to look at something, and it's better if you look at something natural, like a tree or something, just because it has more stillness by itself, but it doesn't really matter what you look at. So if you look at an object, right? Let's find something generic. If you look at an object, right? And then you look at it, and then you make the gesture with your attention back towards the thing that is looking. Now, in the beginning, for most people, the conceptual mind will immediately start intervening, and it will jump in and say, what do you mean? Like, yeah, I'm looking. The eyes see. Like, there'll be all these explanations. And just like, you gotta wipe that clean. Okay. Just what is actually seeing, not how the apparatus works, or none of these. Don't worry about it. What is actually observing this right now? And then you don't need to answer that. You just place the attention back. It's almost like you flip back the attention on what you think is looking. So you do this little twist, but you keep looking at the object though. So the object is being seen, and now you're putting your attention on the thing that is implied as seeing it. And then you keep doing that. Now that's it's not deep inside, so it's actually harder even because it's not like a lot of effort. It's right on the surface for you to notice, but because it's so close to you, it's difficult. It's easy to miss. So if it doesn't work immediately, you're not supposed to keep trying go deeper. Just reset, do it again. Reset, do it again. It should happen like that in one instance, and eventually something will happen, and you will go. Usually for me, I found that something that is maybe 5 to 7 feet away is the best, but for different people it's different distance. You keep doing this, something will happen relatively quickly, by the way. It's not going to take months of practice. It's not going to take you more than a couple of days if you do it every day for like a few minutes a day. Something will happen, and it's almost like a glitch. It goes and you go, whoa. You all of a sudden realize, wait a second, that was weird. And then you try it again, and then a window opens and you go, whoa. Like, there's just the room. There's no such thing as like the me that I believe myself. That's not there. That's all just little fluctuations that happen, and you attach like a lot of importance to it, and then that's also the source of all your suffering. So the second you have that one window into it, you can slowly, it's almost like you put a foot in the door and then slowly you expand it a little bit more. And there's all kinds of meditative practices to try and kind of trick your mind to do it. But this is one of the best ones because it requires almost no work, and you can do it anywhere. You can be sitting in the car in traffic, you can, be sitting on the porch, you can be talking to someone even. It doesn't really matter where you are. And that really, really works pretty well. And it gives you a very quick glimmer into the fact that there's no one here that all of this is happening to. And then when you expand on that, and then when you learn how to build that state, then it's like a superpower, because then there's no problems, there's nothing to defend, there's nothing to be scared about. It's just happening, and you're just kind of operating within it, whatever it is that you call yourself to be.
Yeah, I really want to comment on this, but before
Please,
I do,
please.
I'd like to hear from
Brian.
in case he wanted to say something right after.
I was just saying I have goosebumps right now because I tried it a couple times and I just started cringing like out of nowhere. But I don't even know. Am I supposed to have like a conceptual like idea of what happened when it happens?
Yeah, it will happen.
I want to say something very important. So this realization, I really appreciate your practical nature. Daniel, is it?
Danny, yeah.
What's your name?
Danny is my legal name.
Okay, yeah, Daniel. Yeah,
No, it's just Danny. Just Danny. Just D-A-N-N-Y. That's my legal name.
Oh, well, even better. It's more hip.
There you go.
Anyway, I really appreciate how practical, because sometimes I'll get a little like philosophy will kind of take me, and I'll be like, there's senses. It's not pure consciousness, but you're just about practicality. Now, here's a really important.
No. Just to be clear, I know, not at all. I love philosophy and everything, but it's just that these things, when you're trying to explain them to someone, they're fun. But when they can have the experience also, in addition to the philosophical stuff, that's where the juice is. That's where they go like, oh my God, that's crazy. That's
exactly.
Yeah.
And not so much about interpreting, that, but this is just the only thing. When one finds that space, when one has that experience, and it's experiential, and you mentioned it's like a superpower, and you feel like, and part of it is knowing that you have access to the certain degree of peace within, no matter what the external is. Okay, so that's great. But I think a very important next step is, with that power, one needs to reinstall or install a new set of sort of, not morals. I don't want to call them morals. I'll just call them objectives, and create possibilities for themselves that are in line with what they really want and what's good for everyone. Otherwise, it could lead to all kinds of other stuff, that realization, if you don't make sure that you have a good intentions and motivations after coming to those realizations experientially.
Welcome, Brian, as a member also. Thank you for joining. I appreciate you on YouTube. I'm Sleepy. How are you doing, brother?
A membership.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
How are you? And also Casey joined us. How are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Doing amazing. What do you want to talk about today, brother?
Well, I was just kind of like dropping in to see what you guys are talking about. I love talking about stuff like this. I've actually experienced quite a bit of stuff, especially like recently, that I feel like I've tried to talk about out loud before, but people kind of like, you know, even me myself, I think some of the things I've been experiencing lately is because somebody actually just said it. When you do figure stuff out like this, it's kind of like a gift in a weird way. But once you receive that, you can't go back, and you can only move forward with it.
Talking about something like kind of like an
example.
awakening or something.
What's that? Sorry.
Kind of like part of the awakening, like an experience like that.
Right. And I went through like a bunch of awakenings, still going through it. At one point, I thought going through one of them was like, oh, I'm finally there. But like, it just keeps getting, I say the word worse, because that awareness, I believe, is like the gift. And it gets scary because you don't know what to believe is true or not. But like homie said, if you got good intentions and you really have good intentions, in a weird way, you always know what's going to happen. Yeah,
you feel I don't, well, depending on what people believe about the world, but it's almost like you feel the protection of God. Like, that as long as you mean well, that it's all going to end up exactly how it needs to end up. And I think some of it is also rational thought that is maybe slightly less visible, but it's still there, which is that, listen, whatever the truth about reality is, I meant well. So if whatever this ends up being, I know I meant well. That's all I could do. And so you're basically clear with yourself, so to speak. So I feel like that really is a very powerful feeling.
I think it was Saint Augustine who said, "Love and do what you will."
Yeah, that's beautiful. I never heard of this, actually.
So I see your title of your live is Simulation something.
Simulation talk.
Simulation.
Yep.
You guys believe in the sim?
So I am claiming that I found actual proof to believe in simulation. That's what these chats are usually about.
I'd love to hear some maybe about that.
Yeah, are you searching through like a book or something? It sounds like you like.
Sorry, what was that?
It sounded like you're looking through a book.
Oh no, I was grabbing my phone charger.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so a few years ago, I discovered that if you project a diffracted laser on the surface and you ingest the spirit molecule, I cannot name it here because TikTok is weird about these things, you will see code running in the surface behind the laser. And this is repeatable 100% of the time for no matter who you are, where you are, or when you are. And aside from that, I have like a lot of other data points that happen to me more personally, but the laser, anybody can try it, anybody can do it, and it's verifiable.
Do you think that those substances, specifically the one you talked about, that's like already a natural occurring chemical inside of us, right? Right. Do you think that things like that kind of break that veil that's already there?
Can you clarify? Do you mean is it possible to do it without it? Is that what you mean?
Well, I know personally that it is. I'm asking you, do you think that, sorry, I'm trying to plug let me get my thoughts together real quick.
Sure.
I'm trying to plug my phone in.
No problem.
I guess yeah, I'll just wait.
Sure. Casey, did you have anything fun to say?
I did. Yeah.
Please share.
Hold my breath. One second. Have you done close one eye and then tried to see the code with only one eye?
I think I did a few times. Yeah.
Have you done that?
Yeah. Why?
Yeah. So because I'm working right now with it, and it's causing. I don't know if it's just because my I won't tune to it or not, but possibly it nullifies the code, maybe.
Nullifies
uh,
it? No, I've never had that.
Sorry, boys. I'm trying to plug my phone in.
Sure.
You guys got some good ideas that I want to bounce off of.
No problem at all. So somebody's saying, Golden Realm saying, I tried the experiment and I don't see it. Have you tried it? So there's a lot of first of all, did you see my troubleshooting video? MK Hufus. Have you tried it's the latest video I put out on YouTube. So you can check it out with all the little things that might help you. But just in general, just so I know, have you tried like how did you try it? What was the if you did it with the vape, did you do it with the powder? How long did you try it for? And also you can always fill out the report on the website, which will help me to guide you potentially to help you see it easier. J Paul saying still no TikTok in Nebraska. So I didn't know that it's not all over the country. It's only there's still limited areas. Is it possible to modify the code, Dasha? No, so far it seems it's impossible. That's what makes it stand out. That all the other codes that people report, you can kind of do something to them. This code you can't really do anything with. That's why I'm trying to see what we can do. And so far, the only luck we had was with magnets. Yeah, the line doesn't matter if it's a line and not cross. It makes no difference whatsoever. The cross is just two lines, basically.
So, Danny, one time I saw in one of your videos where it was saying the different phases of how it will come into not view, but I guess, what do you do with the telescope or something? You focus. Yeah, the different ways that
comes into focus.
The sequence will come into focus. Sometimes it's like a different language, and then it turns into the numbers.
It's never numbers. It's always it's always some kind of a language. It looks the closest it looks like is kind of like in the movie. It actually kind of looks like Japanese, but it isn't. And it may be like a mixture with Hebrew, but it isn't. So it's almost like an alien language.
Able to notate it?
A lot of people tried. It's very difficult because it's moving very fast and there's a lot of it and it's very small. So you can't really, your brain can't grab that. It's changing all the time. Like you can't, it's not like you can catch a sequence. It's like it's constantly moving, constantly changing. And there's like 3 different axes along which it's moving. It's more the nature of it. Like the way that it appears, it's so clear to you that it's there. And that I tried really hard, and I'm realizing at this point, this is also why the same thing kind of like I tried to describe to Brian, the experiment with the self. Unless people experience it for themselves, there's nothing I can say that will ever like you can kind of understand what I'm saying, but you don't. Like it's just there.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
yeah.
It's kind of like when you're in that flow of certain level of consciousness. It's like you're not dealing with earthly concepts.
It's not
anymore.
that. It's not that at all. Not that at all. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's so terrestrial. It's so simple. It's so mundane. It's just like these keys. Like literally this simple. Like it's just there. And it's like you project it there and then you look at it. And the reason that in the trailer you see people going the way they're going is because they cannot believe they're seeing this. Because in the molecule space, even though it's crazy, it still belongs to the kind of visual that you would expect to see on it. It's like this wild thing, but it belongs to a particular gestalt. Like it has a nature, right? When you see the code,
it moves.
It's not the movement; flashes. It's the nature of it. It's just so regular. It's so just there.
I just don't understand why the characters can't over time be if there's that much sort of mental clarity and coherence, why can't the characters be reproduced?
There's too much of them moving all the time. Some of them can. People, So people did that. If you go to our Discord, people sharing all the time what they did. Ebony, that is running Discord, she's an incredible artist, and she reproduced some of them. That's probably one of the closest ones, but it's still approximations. Like the reason that I don't hang my hat there is because I'm interested in actually figuring it out, not in the vicinity of. And in order to actually figure it out, being in the ballpark of is the same as being nowhere to me.
Well,
So to me, it's
this is
important
yeah.
if we are to actually do anything with it, you're going to need to be able to record directly from your cortex. That is the only way to do it, and
Okay,
then you can
well,
feed it into a
this
machine that will analyze it.
well, this is just what I'll say. I really always practical. I really appreciate that. I'm just saying that with quantum computing and technology, you may be able to have enough similar things and then be able to put it into a system and say, hey, search all of the ancient writings, look at how these might match up, and it might come up with the ancient Hebrew, you know, and start to piece it together. We don't know what the future of
I always say
intelligence.
so I maintain that after you see it for the first time, your first reaction would be, oh, okay, I understand. No, that's not possible. It's just, it's not, it's kind of like it's like you asking me, why can't, because you can see the, let's,
Characters.
no, well, okay, you can see,
Grid.
some kind of a, no, I'm trying to think of a different example from the world. You can see a waterfall, right? So you're asking me, why can't you, but you can see it, right? Yeah. But why can't you take every drop and like register exactly what it looked like? That's what you're asking me.
Oh, it's the nature. That's what
It's
you mean.
so immense. There's no, it's not like, even in the Matrix in the movie, it's already a lot, right? And it's that on steroids. Like it's so much more than that, right? And it's not moving just like nice in a line. It's moving along different axes, but all of it is discernible. And yet it's so much that in order to capture any snapshot of that, you need to be extremely good at translating visual. And again, some artists did. I had some people do it. If you join Discord, you'll see it. But
Cool.
but to me, and I keep saying it because I don't want to discourage anybody from trying this. I'll be the first one to congratulate and say bravo and oh my God, that's amazing if somebody manages to go about it this way. I think it's a waste of time. I think that in order to actually do something with it that is discernible, you first have to figure out what is it. And in order to do that, you need to see what can you do to induce change in it. And so far you can't, no matter what you do. And that's interesting. Thank you so much for the gift, Daddy. Especially because his name is Daddy. Thanks for the gift, Daddy. Daddy Trump. Even better. So the reasonable thing to do from where I'm sitting is to see if you can create any physical modifications around it in a way that you will see that it's doing a coherent thing always when you do that thing. And then you start asking yourself, what does that mean in relationship to what the code is doing? Which means that some portion of its behavior is linked to this change you just induced. And now you can work your way back from there. And then if you have particular characters that appear in that region that may be changed to different characters or set of characters when you do that thing, let's say a magnetic field or something, then you can say, okay, now I'm interested in the characters. Because right now the field of possibility is just too large, and it doesn't really lend itself to any kind of analysis because you don't have a theoretical framework. You're just looking at
It sounds so fascinating. I would try, because I would definitely try magnetism, but I would also try different tones maybe at the same time.
Don't work.
Might be able to,
Don't work.
it won't work.
Nope.
You tried it?
Yep. Doesn't work. It's not like that. So it's like, it's the same as, so when people ask me, did you try different frequencies? Did you try different tones? It's literally as simple as shining light on an object. Hi, doing Daddy Trump. And what's interesting is that when you, for example, even when you ask me, for example, hey, does the code change when you switch from red to green? That's the same question as if you would project a red laser in the dark on this object, on these headphones, and then you switch to green, would the headphones change? No, they will just be a different color because you projected a different color. That's how it looks. It looks like a thing that is there. That's what I keep trying to. It's not like looking through your third eye. It's not a special ability that you have to like focus into this. It's just an object there. It's as real as anything. That's why you see the reactions in the video, because people do not expect to see that.
It's like you're
Jenny.
swinging a dream. That's how I, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, are you the guy that has done the DM?
Yeah. We call it we call it the spirit molecule, not to be kicked off of the chat. Yes.
Okay, good.
We call it the dream molecule.
Okay, that's incredible. That's incredible. I'm so happy to be on here, man. Oh my
Awesome.
goodness.
I'm glad to have you, brother.
Wow. You know, it's crazy. I had a buddy of mine. I've had the dream molecule through a pen previously, and obviously it's not the same. And I've been following you guys' research and your progress, and I've been on the truth searching journey for a long time, and I believe in it 100%. But a buddy of mine just told me that he had a dream molecule pen that was just ridiculously strong, and it actually let him like cross through the border, you know. What is your opinion on the pens versus like the organic? You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
great question. I think that for this particular case, the vape is easier to use because it gives you more flexibility with exactly how much you're doing. Oh, and just a comment from about what I said before. My good friend Zoltan just joined us. How you doing, my brother? He says that also there's a three-dimensional depth to it. It's not like two-dimensional writing on a sheet of paper, but there is code upon code. So it goes infinitely into the z-axis. There's like a reality to it. And all of it just appears as very, very realistic. So this is another data point. So thank you for pointing that out, Zoltan. I think that for the experiment, the vape is better because anything with powder is just too. Even if you have the one that you would reload or you can load a few, yeah, you can do it. But if you want to keep sitting there, like I would, it's not that I'm recommending anybody does this, but I spent hours with it sometimes. Like I would sit there for 8 hours. People say, "Oh, I tried for 20 minutes." But like, I would sit there for 8 hours with it. Like it just and you can't do that with a powder. You just can't. It's just too much work, and then you get tired. And if you have like a good line of like a few vape pens, strong battery, let's go. Like the second that you get a little bit kind of like your brain gets a little bit used to it, I'll take two at a time. Let's go. It's like it's like whatever. It's just like whatever you need to do to stay in the space. It's all good. So
That makes sense.
yeah. But
Sorry.
So, good.
no, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, like, because I've been kind of following the progress vaguely, but what laser would I use to kind of see what you're seeing on a basic level? You know what I mean? Like, what do I buy?
Oh, you just
see that?
go to codeofreality.com. That's our website, codeofreality.com.
Yeah.
We have the full list listed there. You don't have to buy it through the website. You can buy it anywhere you want, as long as the laser has a diffraction lens and it's not strong. Don't go anything above 5 milliwatts because you will do cornea damage. Try and even stay at 1 milliwatt if you can. But basically, copy the specs of the laser, and you can, if you want to save money, you can go to like Alibaba, or you can buy it either in bulk or even in smaller amounts. Just make sure that the specs are the same. Don't buy something else. It has to be diffracted, and it has to have like nothing above 5 milliwatt. That's all you need. That and the spill molecule, and you should be able to see it.
I don't mind giving you guys a commission, man. You guys earn at least that. I mean, you guys are on a mission to change the whole consciousness of the world, bro. I mean, it's very, very serious what you guys have learned and figured out and studied, and what you guys are trying to share with people.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
I respect that.
Yeah, no, I just always say, because sometimes people because I always want to make sure that there's no like money barrier, and some people they can afford whatever, and that's fine, and some people can't. So I always have to say it, because sometimes people would email me and they'll be like, oh, because we also make, people ask us to make them, so we start making them. So we make really cool ones. They're like portable, and like we send you like a special package with like fun whatever, but really you're paying for helping the experiment, right? Because that's a relatively cheap laser pen that we sell for like $150. So you're helping the project, but I want to make sure that nobody thinks that it's like a magic laser. There's nothing magic about it. You can get it anywhere, and I want to make sure that that's very clear to everybody. People who can afford it, great. I will receive it with gratitude, but I don't want anybody to feel that they can't do it because they can't afford it. You can get it anywhere. There's no problem. So I always emphasize that. That's all.
That's a good point. I followed Ram Dass. I still listen to Ram Dass quite a bit. Do you follow him at all, or listen to him?
I'm familiar with Ram Dass, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It was just like with the LS, whatever. It was a situation to where people were trying to charge, for this or that, and that wasn't what it was about. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, absolutely.
The true nature of consciousness, and trying to bring people into the true nature of consciousness and love. It doesn't have to do anything with money. Although money, there's nothing wrong with money. It just kind of depends on where you're at on the consciousness level, because everything is real at the same time. But I respect that what you're doing a lot.
I appreciate you.
I know I said that, but
it's about even value exchange for me. And just a quick one, Brian. Yeah, on LinkedIn it's just Danny Goller. Across all platforms, I don't have like secret accounts or anything. It's always just my name, Danny Goller. Go ahead, brother. What do you want to say?
No, Daddy was just making a few good points I wanted to bounce off of, because earlier I wasn't being like too clear. So one of the things I want to say is Daddy keeps bringing up like you guys are spreading information and like doing things like that. I wanted to bring it back to like Woodstock, like the first Woodstock, and how hundreds of thousands of people were all. This is when like LSD started becoming recreational and big.
So here we say we call it Lucy because TikTok literally flags us for things like this. Yeah. It's all good. It's all good. No, it's all good. Yeah, it's easy. It's easy to forget. They're weird. So it's the spirit molecule, Lucy. The most common one we just call it green.
So I know you talk about like philosophizing, whatever.
Philosophizing, yeah.
I feel like in my life I've never had like an original thought, but one thing I think about quite a bit is like childhood, and then things like the dream molecule and the way people are just themselves when they act like when they're on these things. It's like a veil. It's yourself. I can't explain it to you like in any other way, but it's just it's like you are yourself, and when you are yourself, you start attracting like-minded people. But what I wanted to ask you, since you brought up the grid, I never did the dream molecule, but my ex-girlfriend's brother did it, and he couldn't describe his experience at all. But what he did experience was a skewed grid. He kept saying like the world was just skewed, like everything was normal, but it was just angled. Like he could see an angle, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like it was skewed. Like if you take a flat picture and you skew it to like a certain angle. He kept explaining like how he could see angles, like just really sharp angles, and how everything was just on a grid and it was skewed, and he got caught in a loop, this like weird scary loop, and he kept saying like he figured something out that he wasn't supposed to figure out.
Okay.
That specific experience sounds more like what is that? They actually sell it at smoke shops now. And that's different.
So you talk about salvia.
Salvia, you. Yeah,
Yeah.
That is awful, dude. Don't ever mess with that.
Yeah, that's awful.
dude. I used to do that recreationally for like no reason, and like it'd always be a good time for me and my buddy. Like we'd be going into the gym and do it, and then after the gym we'd do it. But it would get really, really intense. And somehow it's just it's legal.
No, not
yeah.
anymore. Not anymore. But there used to be. Yeah.
Let me know when I can ask you a question,
Sure, go ahead.
then. Okay. So let's say that when your research yields this the answer as to how to impact the code through
Mhm.
the various methods.
Mhm.
Okay. So definitely there's a lot more. I guess the word would be credibility. I don't know that there's any amount lacking at this point. I mean, it's duplicatable 100% of the time. I mean, how much more scientifically sound could it be? But I'm really trying to understand, like, where does this end up? He meant, Daddy mentioned about spreading this awareness of what consciousness is and love. Like, what's your vision for? Is it primarily just spreading the message? Is it the scientific research and the good that it can do, and appreciating how to impact it? Like, what's the vision?
It's a great question. I think my vision ultimately is always around just understanding, and the public facing part of the project is a portion of it, because I both practice explaining what I believe it is and creating a frame around it, and also I see how it influences people. I think until now, one of the biggest shifts that we're about to experience, and we're already experiencing to a very large degree with what Sleepy was saying, with a lot of the gifts that we're getting, is that we're moving from the worldview that things just unfolding and we happen to just kind of be riding a giant wave and whatever happens happens, to a much more human inclusive and conscious inclusive model that says that all understandings also carry the potential of influencing any conscious being in that way or another. So let's say we discover a new thing. Now it's no longer enough to say, well, it's just true. Okay, but what does that truth do? Now that becomes a relevant question. And in that regard, the way I view what I do personally, because at this point there's no lack of people who are trying this, right? So what I do personally is try and create coherent frames that I believe allow us to um, navigate through containers that help us be better as a whole, whatever the truth about the code is. And one of these very central tenets that I'm trying to follow constantly is central line. I'm trying to keep balance as much as possible. And this is why you constantly seeing me offering these small corrections, which on the surface of it maybe even look like nitpicking and like why doesn't it even matter? Because they drift very quickly into absurdities and into extremes with people. And I'm constantly trying to like keep it in the like right here, just stay right here, which is that don't be too dogmatic in any direction. Don't be too scientific in when it drifts to scientism, which is like, I know that all there is what we can measure. No, you don't. That's not true. But the same thing happens on the spiritual side, where people just get so bunkers that they forget that, hey, you can't walk through the wall, you know. So can we admit
the logical side of the brain and the intuition side of the brain?
right? But it's important to allow both of them to express what they're really trying to express, so we can evolve into what we're supposed to evolve. And I meet people along my journey which are experiencing things that I haven't experienced before. And at the same time, we're exchanging notes and we're seeing, oh, interesting, there's a correlation there. And I guess to the question of how I see the end goal, I don't see an end goal. I think we are evolving into something truly infinite. And part of that universal jump is the understanding that you have to allow things to be what they are at the moment, but you know that you have the potential to change them in some form if you understand them properly. It's not like it's all just whatever goes, right? If the universe is all mind, it doesn't then mean that you can just fly. There's still some regularities that you have to take into account, and that I feel is sometimes being lost. So that's how I view my next thing. But to be honest with you, the truth about how I'm operating from moment to moment, the closest archetype is Captain Jack. I just see the next palm tree, and that's all I know. And then that somehow unfolds into something beautiful. And if I go to the next one and it goes into something that I deem as less beautiful, well, I'm gonna change directions. That's all. But I know I can't understand the full picture, so I only talk about what I do understand to some degree, and then we're exchanging notes. And part of that unfolding of what the discovery is bringing humanity together. Is saying it you have no idea how many emails I get that literally change my whole day or my whole week, where people say, sometimes it's very like heavy emails. Like I wanted to kind of like end it all. And like, I saw your work and I'm like, I want to stick around. I want to see what happens. And that just like, that makes me tear up. But there's also like like I had a guy who's a PhD student in physics, and he's like, I've went through all this time and I like worked on all this stuff, and I felt like it was so empty. It was so like, what am I doing? And then I saw what you were doing, and I'm like, oh my god, we can think like this. This is allowed. And it's like you gave me a whole new like courage to think in like much more like extravagant ways, where now I know what I'm here for. Like I'm going to use all my tools in physics to try and figure out something that nobody figured out before. So this is my aim, to inspire as much of that as possible. That's really my central calling.
I can tell just by the way you're speaking.
Yo, that's crazy. You just said that. Oh my god.
Go ahead. Speak from the heart, brother.
No, you just took the words right out of my mouth, man.
That's what I'm basically saying. Like the way that you are speaking is so from the heart and so from the conscious, the universe from itself is. I feel like we can all feel that on here if you've been in this space before. It's I personally I feel like when I'll just say really quickly I've been in a very spiritual place before. I've gone through Hare Krishna, I've gone through Christianity, and I kind of grew into different spaces, and I kind of put it all together. And I started to realize what is actually going on and what is actually the truth. And I started to feel like I started to resonate certain things with my heart and take certain things and not take certain things. And I feel like you're obviously right there, but it's an incredible thing to be able to feel these things. Man, I
appreciate you, brother. You're making me feel really warm and fuzzy inside. So I appreciate it, man. That's beautiful.
I had so many things I was going to say while you were talking, and then you just kept going on. I was like, oh, I'm going to say that about that. And then you kept going. I was like, oh, let's say that about that. But I will say,
I feel you though. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you guys if you guys have ever had a angel number come up in your life repeatedly, because yes. the guy that I follow, he opened a charity in Tanzania, Africa for children, and long story short, I saw 333 for so long in my life. I thought I was going crazy, and I looked it up. I grew up Christian, and I was telling people about it, and they're like, yo, you're just looking for it. And I'm like, why would I be looking for 333, right? And then all these synchronicities started to happen in my life. And then I met what I feel like was a guru for me. I was doing a ski lift operator, and this guy that everybody thought was crazy resonated with me so hard. And then he disappeared. And I was just like, I did the things I've gone on in my life, but the angel number of 333 really turned me on into the spiritual nature of things. And it's been a continual journey, of course, but I'm curious to hear if you guys have a journey of an angel number.
Go ahead, I'm sleepy.
Sorry, yeah, this is like my cup of tea right here. How do I want to unpack this? The angel numbers are huge. I think they've always been around. And this is, again, this is my truth and the things I've learned. I believe angel numbers are a sign of a higher vibration. People notice things, and it's not just times on the clock. It's not just it's there. It could be single numbers, and you specifically like pointed out the threes. Threes have been huge in my life. Threes are the Trinity, like the Trinity things coming together. Three, but what you said specifically, like you went through all these trials and tribulations, and after a while you decided to do your own thing. I think that certain people like Danny and you are meant to get people on that track, because I personally think it's scary to put all your eggs in one basket. I don't down anybody for praying to a God, but at some point, people do their own thing. And angel numbers for me have been huge. That was like my precursor to like learning more about myself. And that shit, it gets scary, bro. It gets scary. It does get scary.
Very scary.
What scares you about it? The size of it?
I think what scares me the most is knowing, how do I want to say this without being conceited? Knowing that you know what's going to happen in the weirdest way. You can never tell anybody details, but for some reason, you just know how it's going to end. And certain signs are sent to you from higher powers to let you know, like, hey, you're on the right track, and you got to start going for it, and you can't go back. And you said you met like some guru, and I've ran into like powerful, scary people that told me about myself and reassured me of the things that I thought I knew, and I didn't really want to be right, but it's scary, and I can't go back. I can't. And yeah.
Just don't forget that there's also the possibility that reality, in fact, does give you exactly what you expect. So it's possible that all of these frames are also in the habit of swarming around you more when you're more convinced of them. So they are real solidified timelines that just basically feed back what makes sense to you. And for all intents and purposes, I can tell you, and this, you don't need to take my word for it at all. You can just test it for yourself. I saw that ultimately all of these conceptual frameworks that people talk about, they're part of this larger possibility space that is basically literally would give you what you're convinced of. And because of that, for example, at this point, I stopped consuming everything that I don't want to live through. So basically, like people would really, really nerd on all kinds of like very deeply occult things, and they would be like, oh, did you hear about this story? It was like, nope, and I don't want to hear it. Because
sports now.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. All I know is what I have right here. I have my wife, I have my two dogs, people that I love. I have things in the day that I like doing. I go for a walk, and I enjoy the air, and I enjoy the sun. If something happens, I'll deal with it. But I don't want to know that thing that you're talking about, because I'm not telling you. I'm just saying. I'm just talking to because I am saying that we are literally crossing timelines right now with all kinds of possibilities. That's why the manifestation goes up, cranks up to like 1 million. And because of exactly because of that, you got to be very careful. And also, you might want to consider the fact that whatever it is, if it's beautiful and what scares you is actually something you're excited about, by all means, proceed. But just so you know, you can absolutely change all of it. It's just that you have to now reconstruct your belief system to match that, which sometimes takes a little bit of time. But it's absolutely changeable. and it's never what you think it is ultimately, because ultimately it can be anything you want it to be, literally anything. But you just have to steer towards it.
Hey, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan.
Yeah.
So have you ever, are you familiar with amplitude?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So then I've got the ongoing AI project with this project, right? And I was, through the scattering, stuff we've been talking about in there. And it was talking about the differences between the scattering that amplitude hadrons are studying. So the amplitude hadron dealing with high energy fundamental particle collisions in advanced quantum field theory, whereas just the laser scattering people keep referring to is usually low to moderate energy photons interacting with matter, classical and semi-classical regime. What I find interesting is that, so amplitude hadrons suggest space-time and locality are emergent from underlying geometry. It's about fundamental theory, whereas the laser scattering takes space-time and Maxwell's equations or wave optics as givens, focusing on how beams diffract and refract in everyday context. I think it's interesting, wonder, so theoretically, maybe, the code, what we're seeing in the code is the, oh God, is the underlying geometric, oh God.
I think it's the execution code. So after you have the geometry, it is.
Foundation, is that the word you're looking for?
The what?
I'm just trying to help him express like the foundation of the algorithm.
Like looking at it, so it's like, so we're on the molecule, we're seeing some glimpses of like some underlying geometry of reality. And with the laser, we're externally able to see it, if that makes sense, and study it at this point, possibly connecting to the a more amplitude hadron fundamental.
So I think that whatever geometry is underlying the ultimate relationships of realities, what I think we see in the laser is the executing code that literally is building the world after it's following the logic of the shape.
Yeah, exactly, and so that would be so interesting. In other words, it's the connect, what we're seeing in the code, because it's external and to be able to study it, is the connector from the connection between the space-time and Maxwell's equations to the higher study of like the Large Hadron Collider, where they're studying the quarks and photons and how they behave.
So I have a suggestion, because I'm going to have a hard stop in about 3 minutes, because I do have to get some sleep. Let's actually table this, because I do also wanted to really touch on what you're talking about is interesting, because it also touches on the sounds that we got on in that other conversation. That was interesting. Let's table this for the next live, because I would love to open that up to like a real conversation and not like a 3-second comment. I'll let you guys give a few last words before we jump off by the order that you guys appear for me. So, Daddy, you go first, brother.
I'll just say, like, I have, for whatever reason, gotten away from my spirituality for a year or so. I feel like I've just been going through so much, and now I'm getting back into reading books and getting back into like my curiosity and searching for truth, and I feel more like myself when I do this. I kind of lost myself in the world, and I'm always a believer of you need to be, like in the world but not of it. And there's the more I listen to the people like you, Danny, the people that I really resonate with, the more I search for that, the more I don't want to listen to just regular bullshit music, the more I want to listen to an audio book, the more I want to be continuing my search for truth. So I appreciate every single one of you guys. You guys all had amazing things to say. And man, I'm just really happy to be a part of this live, man. I'm glad TikTok is back. I'm glad we are where we're at as a community. And I hope to join this live with you guys again.
Yeah, and you should follow my YouTube channel because there's more. The more like the real content is there. Most of it. It's Dango Thoughts. DANGO Thoughts. And that's where most people are also following. But I appreciate you coming on, and please come on any evening. I'm here almost every night. Usually not that late. Hopefully, usually not that late, but almost every night.
Not honestly either. What's the YouTube channel again?
Dango Thoughts. DANGO Thoughts. But you can just in my bio there's a link tree, and in the link tree you have all the you'll see the channel and everything.
Awesome.
Thank you, brother. I'm sleepy. First of all, what's your name, by the way?
My name is Zach.
Nice to meet you, Zach.
My name is Zach. My name is Jordan. Like I said, I don't really try to be political. I did this for a little bit of a quick little business, but it didn't really work out as well as I thought. But I was actually going to ask you guys what your thoughts were on Elon Musk, because I don't. Well, we'll get into the next slide.
Yeah, it's a bit. Elon is a big topic, for sure.
Man, I want to talk to Daddy more. Anyway.
Yeah, but well, first of all, you guys can talk after as well, and then I'll be here. Well, most likely tomorrow again, so we can also reopen that subject. We have Elon. We have communicating to aliens with sounds. We have fun stuff for tomorrow. Well, pleasure meeting you, Zach. I'm sleepy. What's your name?
My name's Torin with 2 R's.
Torin?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
I could yap all day. I graduated from Yappington University, but what I will say to Danny, first of all, is that thank you for doing what you're doing, bro.
Thank you,
didn't
bro.
have a choice. Neither did you, Daddy. You guys don't have a choice but to do this.
Yep.
I think we've all done this before, and it's just harder in 2025 to spread information because it's scary, and a lot of shit is fake. But it's also
a lot of things are beautiful at the same time. Yeah,
super beautiful. And I've never really been into coding and like the matrix side, and
me neither.
But but listening to yours and just this perspective, there's a lot of alignments between the things I believe in. And I think timing is cool. I don't believe in coincidences. But anyway, I definitely want to continue to bounce off of.
Let's go. I'll come back tomorrow and we'll keep this thing going.
Also, another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Specifically for you, Danny. Are you an Earth sign?
Earth? No, I think I'm air. I'm Aquarius. I actually have a birthday in 3 days. I'm January 28th.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, so January 28th, buddy.
And guess what? My angel number is 42, and I'm gonna be 42. So that's I don't know what's supposed to happen, but
yeah. When I was 42, it was like a neon sign that said "the end" flickered on, and every day it gets brighter.
Nice. 42.
Daddy, add me real quick, bro. And if you want to talk a little bit, I got some shit to tell you.
I add you right now.
Yeah, word. Because I think you could learn a lot. We could learn a lot from each other because I think we're kind of going through a lot of the same experiences. And this also right here is why I appreciate people like Danny, because he doesn't know, but I know.
Well,
he's supposed to connect. It's connection, bro.
People together that are on a similar frequency.
Correct.
Same tribe.
It's an honor to do so. Casey, what are your final words? Not for today. For today. What?
Same vibe, same tribe.
Let's go,
Exactly.
baby.
Dude, I'm just so happy that all of you guys on here are great. It's so cool to be able to talk with Danny, like the dude that saw this shit and figured this shit out and has been working with these people and been going through this process of elimination and this process of science. I don't know if you guys have seen the most recent Joe Rogan podcast
with Tom Campbell.
Was that? Yeah, I think that's who it was, huh?
Mm-hmm.
He broke what we're living in. Like, he broke it down so simply and great, and he broke it down in such a way to where, like, I've obviously kind of understood where we're at in some way, but he was able to kind of break it down to where I was like, okay, that everything he was saying, I resonated with, and everything that you say, Danny, I resonate with, and Sleepy and I mean, it's there's so much to learn and so much to unlearn, but like I said, I know you got to go to bed, Danny. I appreciate all you guys, and we got a lot more to learn and unlearn and chat about and figure out these frequencies and do
Daddy,
everything.
I'm about to invite you. I got something to tell you. Anyway, Danny, bro.
Guys, thank you so much.
I'm out of here. Please, no, dog. I just met you, but you got good energy, dog, and continue figuring out what you got to figure out.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you. And
It's only gonna get bigger and better from here.
Yeah, hopefully you guys will. Hopefully you come back tomorrow. Also, Ari's Jutsi is saying it was all over the room, green and black code. Felt amazing to see it, but I was shocked to see it as well. I guess that's a very common response. Thank you for sharing that.
So real quick.
Yeah, Jay, go ahead.
Of course, I really appreciate you and everything you're doing, and
very mutual.
Enjoyed speaking with everyone. Of course, one thing I want to leave you with, just as a curiosity, you can kind of get into, is you mentioned if all is mind. So that's a sort of esoteric concept with a lot of solid thought behind it. In line with that principle, have you ever studied deeply the principle of gender? That would be the first question.
Gender?
Yes.
Well, from what I see, that masculine and feminine are the most fundamental things, right after the source. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's why I was mentioning it, because a real grasp of that can really open up a lot of insight. And so then my next question, which you don't have to answer, is when you do peer at this nature of this code, does it still have this sort of feel of masculine and feminine?
I don't know.
But you don't have to answer that now.
No, I just don't know. I'm also not... My journey with feelings and emotion and intuition, it's a long one. And there's we can talk about that too. But yeah, to me, it doesn't feel like any of them. It feels very neutral. It just feels like machine code.
Sometimes balance can feel neutral. But appreciate you, Danny. Thanks so much.
Appreciate you too,
Thanks,
brother.
everybody.
Just a quick announcement that I have to make. If you want to follow me across platforms, it will be Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram, Goller Danny on X, Laser X83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. DANGO Thoughts on YouTube. I also have
yeah. Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you too.
Danny, invite me tomorrow, man.
See you tomorrow, brother. On YouTube, I also have a membership program that you can join that allows you to talk to me on Zoom with group members and even privately, depending on the tier, as well as early access to all my content on YouTube and weekly lives for members only, aside from the daily lives, and also a bunch of stuff I'm about to post about my private life that will only live on YouTube membership and nowhere else. I appreciate all the people that already joined the memberships. It definitely helps me to focus on this more full time, and all the people that are putting all the extra effort and even their hard-won money to actually help the channel, like Ebony and Ben and Chris, who are actually donating, they're gifting memberships to people here and there. So I really, really appreciate you guys. All the people part of the community that's showing up on a regular basis, and they're making this community what it is. I deeply, deeply appreciate you. This would not be the same without you. And the fact that we always have this vibe of understanding and love and respect, I could not feel more blessed. So thank you, everybody, for making this a reality for all of us. I appreciate you. Peace and love. Good night. Ciao. See you guys.
Yep.
Have a good night, guys. And try. I think it's where the you have a money sign on the bottom. So fucking. But I appreciate the intention as well. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for being part of this community, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much.